I never imagined that a single voice message, one that wasn't even meant for me, would become the key that unlocked the truth of my entire life. But it happened, and when it did, it was like someone reached into my chest, pulled out everything I thought I knew about my family, and replaced it with a version I had never been allowed to see. If you've ever felt invisible inside your own home, if you've ever wondered why love seemed to skip over you on its way to everyone else, then this story may sound painfully familiar. My name doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm a twin, born 7 minutes after my brother Liam. 7 minutes. Such a small sliver of time, but somehow, for my mother, those 7 minutes turned into something monumental. Something symbolic. Something that placed him on a pedestal so high, I spent my entire life living under its shadow. He was the older one, the responsible one, the talented one, the boy, the favorite. And me? I became the quiet one, the sensitive one, the dramatic one, the problem. That was the script I inherited before I could even walk. Growing up, I always felt like I had to earn the air I breathed in that house. If I worked twice as hard as Liam, I still fell short. If I brought home perfect grades, my mother would glance at them and say, "That's wonderful, sweetheart. But look at your brother's score. He's so gifted." If I cleaned the house while she was sick, she would nod at me and gently say, "Thank you. Now check if Liam needs anything." It didn't matter if he had spent the day doing nothing. My efforts were expected. His were celebrated. He didn't need to try. I needed to overperform. And when we fought, as all siblings do, it didn't matter what actually happened. The result was predetermined. Liam wouldn't do that. "You must have misunderstood your brother. Why are you always trying to make him look bad? Stop provoking him. Don't be dramatic." I heard those phrases so many times they became my internal voice. I didn't just feel guilty for things I didn't do. I started believing I was the source of every problem. One moment from my teenage years is impossible to forget. We were 16. I had accidentally used Liam's charger, the same charger he kept taking from me. He walked into my room furious, grabbed my wrist, and squeezed so hard I felt my skin burn. At that exact moment, Mom walked into the room. I froze, expecting, hoping she would intervene. Instead, she rushed to Liam, not me. "Are you okay, baby?" She didn't have to make such a big deal over a charger. I remember staring at her, my wrist throbbing, my chest tightening, wondering if I had slipped into some alternate reality where truth didn't matter. Her eyes didn't even glance at the red marks on my skin. She didn't ask me what happened. She didn't care. That moment carved a long, invisible scar inside me, one that kept reopening again and again over the years. Liam thrived under her worship. He grew up confident, too confident. Everyone at school saw him as charismatic, charming, the kind of guy who lit up a room just by walking into it. But underneath it all, he was spoiled, entitled, and used to getting exactly what he wanted. And why wouldn't he? Mom validated every behavior he had. When he lied, she defended him. When he messed up, she covered for him. When he hurt me, she justified it. I learned to shrink myself, to step aside, to speak softly, to avoid conflict, not because I was naturally quiet, but because silence became my safest option. When I cried alone. When I succeeded, no one noticed. When I struggled, it was my attitude. When Liam struggled, it was the world being too hard on him. People think loneliness only comes from being alone, but the deepest form of loneliness is existing beside people who refuse to see you. Years passed, and Liam grew into the golden boy of the family. Meanwhile, I grew into a young woman who doubted every part of herself. I didn't trust my feelings, my memories, or even my worth. It's strange how a parent's favoritism doesn't just create an imbalance. It creates a fracture inside the child who isn't chosen. But all of that was only the beginning. The real fracture came years later. I was 23 when everything finally collapsed. One night, Liam came home drunk. Not tipsy, drunk enough to slur his own name. He stumbled into my room, smelling like alcohol and trouble. He'd crashed Mom's car into a mailbox and needed someone to blame. "You're going to say it was you," he demanded, gripping the doorframe. "You were out. You took it. You did it. Mom can't know I screwed up again." I refused. For the first time in my life, I said no to him. He reacted instantly, grabbing my shoulders and shoving me hard enough that I hit the dresser behind me. A sharp pain shot through my back. I gasped. Right then, Mom burst into my room. My heart leaped. I thought she had finally seen the truth with her own eyes, but she ran straight past me, to him. "Oh my God, Liam, did she hurt you? Are you all right?" "Sweetheart, talk to me." My breath caught in my throat. He hurt me. He lied. He manipulated. And she looked directly at me and said, "Why do you always push your brother like this? You're tearing this family apart." That was the night something inside me broke for good. 2 months later, I moved out. It was the only way I could breathe without feeling like I was suffocating. Mom didn't fight my decision. She barely asked why. In her mind, the problem was leaving the house, not the years that had pushed me to that point. Life alone wasn't easy, but it was freeing. I could hear my thoughts for the first time. I wasn't constantly compared, ignored, or dismissed. I wasn't blamed for someone else's choices. I started feeling human. Then, one Sunday, Mom called me unexpectedly. Her voice was trembling. "Sweetheart, can you come home? Please, I need to talk to you." I considered saying no, but something in her voice, fear maybe, made me go. When I arrived, the house felt eerie, too quiet, too still. I found her sitting on her bed, holding her phone like it weighed 100 pounds. Her eyes were red. She didn't look at me. She simply handed me her phone and whispered, "Listen." I pressed play. It was a voice message from Liam. A long one he never meant for me to hear. "Mom, I need you to get her off my back again. She's accusing me of stealing her stuff. You know how she lies. Tell her you saw the charger in her room. Come on, Mom, fix this like you always do." My stomach twisted. Then he said it. The part that made my mother collapse inside. "Honestly, Mom, I don't care if it hurts her feelings. She deserves it. She's always been the disappointment. You said that yourself." Mom broke before the message even ended. Tears streamed down her face. Her shoulders shook. She kept whispering, "What have I done? Oh God, what did I do?" For the first time in my entire life, she looked at me. Really looked. And in her eyes there was fear, guilt, regret, and the unmistakable realization that she had helped create the very cruelty she now heard dripping from her son's voice. "I thought I was protecting him," she sobbed. "I thought you were strong enough. I didn't know I was breaking you." I wanted to speak, but nothing came out. I had fantasized about this moment. The apology, the confession, the clarity. But now that it was here, I didn't feel vindicated. I felt tired, so tired. Because apologies don't erase wounds. They simply show that someone finally sees the damage. Mom called Liam to come over. When he arrived, he wore that same smug look he always had after getting away with something. But Mom didn't embrace him or stand by him. She didn't say a word. She simply pressed play. His face drained of color. "Why were you listening to that?" he snapped. Mom didn't flinch. "Is this how you talk about your sister? After everything?" He exploded instantly. "You weren't supposed to hear that. You always told me she was dramatic. You said she made my life harder. You raised me to believe that. This is your fault." Those words cut deeper than anything he had said about me. Because he was right in a twisted way. She hadn't just favored him. She had built his identity around being protected, believed, excused. She had created a son who loved her loyalty, but not her. He stormed out, slamming the door behind him. That was the last time I saw him. Mom tried to fix things with me after that. She apologized over and over, not with empty words, but with depth, sincerity, and emotional collapse. She started therapy. She read about childhood trauma and favoritism. She asked me what I needed. She tried to rebuild herself as a mother from the ground up. I forgave her. Not because everything was suddenly okay, but because I deserved peace. Because I didn't want to spend the rest of my life carrying the ruins of hers. Liam, on the other hand, disappeared into another city. He cut contact with both of us. Mom hasn't heard from him in months. Not a birthday message, not a holiday call. Nothing. People ask if I miss him. I don't. You can't miss someone who never let you exist. That voice message didn't just reveal the truth. It freed me. It freed my mother too. And in a strange, painful way, it freed Liam. because he no longer has anyone left to blame but himself. I'm healing now, slowly, carefully, honestly. My mother is learning to love differently, to see differently, to speak differently, and for the first time in my life, I feel seen. If you've ever lived in the shadow of someone else's light, I hope you know this. Your worth isn't determined by who chooses you. Sometimes the greatest act of love is choosing yourself first.